Hi, this is Gregory Abston from the Laser Training Institute of Professional Medical Education Association. Welcome to our short inanimate laser lab video series on medical laser training. Hi, in today's laser lab, we're going to take a look at how to lay down coordinated spot patterns with both laser and the rectangular IPL impacts. Now to do that, we're going to practice on a couple things. We've got some Zap-It paper here, some black paper, and we're going to put those inside of plastic sandwich bags, and the reason is we don't want to get the black soot from the paper up on the lenses of our IPL or our laser. We're going to do that and see what the patterns look like, and then we're going to put some gauze over top of it, wet gauze, and kind of do it blindly, which is more like doing a person. And then finally, we're going to take an eggplant and shoot it. And this is kind of like skin, because you won't really see the effect immediately. What you'll see is the effect a few hours or a day later, and you'll see the marks that are left. So let's get started with this. Okay, while my laser's warming up, I'm going to take my Zap-It paper and put it inside of one of these baggies, these sandwich bags, and we'll shoot through it on the clear side. Don't forget your laser safety glasses. Today I'm using an Alexandrite laser, and you'll see in a minute, but the key with the laser is turn the energy way down. You don't want to vaporize through the plastic. You just want to do enough to leave a mark on the plastic. Now when we come to the eggplant, you'll do it at regular treatment powers. Let me zoom in here on the table a little bit better so you can see what we're going to do. I now have the laser set at 4.9 joules per centimeter squared. Remember that we want to keep this really low because we don't want to melt or vaporize this plastic. So I've got it set on 1 time a second, 1 hertz for a pulse. Let me just go across this Zap-It paper and lay down a row of spots. Let's go to the second row. How about the third? Okay, what you're trying to do is set down nice even rows. Generally, it's between 10 to 20% overlap on the circles. Refer to your particular manufacturer, and we try to nestle them together so there are no big open spots on there. It is more important to be consistent than it is to be absolutely perfect on the overlap, both for patient comfort, for safety from burns or blisters, and making sure that you cover the area properly. Okay, well, we can see what we're doing in real time as we do this, so it really is good to start practicing this way, especially for a new person, but it doesn't take you long to get down a cadence and be uniform in doing this. Now, the trick is when you're doing a patient, you don't see all these spots coming up, or at least you don't want to. So now we've got some very thin gauze. You don't want it too thick. And it's damp. I wetted it and then would wring it out. I don't want it terribly wet. I just don't want it to catch on fire. So what we're going to do is take the wet cloth and place over this baggie with the Zap-It paper underneath, and we're going to do the same thing. This time though, we can't see exactly where we were, so we have to kind of remember where we are like it's really on skin. Now if you had gel down, that gives you some indication of where you are, but let's try this and see what we get. The first thing I'm going to do is just do 1 test pulse, because I have to make sure the energy is high enough to get through this gauze. So I've turned it up to 7.1 joules per centimeter squared. Okay, that was enough to at least leave a mark so I can see where I am. It's not as well defined as out here, but after all, this is just practice for me. So let's put that down, and you've got to hold it so it doesn't slide around, and don't slide this. Pick it up each time as you go. So let's get started and see what kind of pattern we can create. Okay, so I've done it again. I've tried to get a nice even pattern here, distribution, without skipping places. And I also don't want to pulse stack, putting double pulses down on the same spot, which causes discomfort because of heat and even blisters. So try this a few times until you get that practice down. Okay, we've switched gears here a bit, and now we're using an IPL. That's the ProLite 2. It really doesn't make any difference which cutoff filter you put in here. We're just practicing coordination. On this unit, it's not letting me go below 15 joules per centimeter squared. So we're going to be careful not to melt the plastic, and we'll use gel and just float it in it to get the effect that we want. Okay, I moved this around just a little bit so that you can see better where the light guide impacts onto this Zap-It paper. But remember, we don't want to melt that plastic. So we've got some cold gel, and we'll just spread it around with a tongue blade like we ordinarily would. And I'm going to have a very light touch. I'm not going to press hard on that paper. We'll test it once and make sure that it doesn't burn through. And I'm using my IPL glasses, but I don't like those crappy green things. I use these glasses that shut down when it sees the flash of light. These are the Lightspeed glasses from Glendale, but they're available from several distributors. Okay, I've applied my gel, but let's just spread it around here a little bit. I don't want it too thin because I want to protect this paper. And generally on patient skin, you're trying to get it 1 to 3 millimeters thick anyway. All right, so that's spread around a little bit, and let's see how that works with the light guide. Okay, let's try the first pulse in the gel, just lightly on it. There we go. I left a mark, but I didn't zap anything. So let me do this. I want to pop it one at a time as I go across. With the IPL, you don't want the overlap like you do with the round spots. You want to try to get it just totally even on the edges. Now I'm picking it up each time right here, but one of the other techniques, of course, is to slide it. So let's try the second row and do that. Okay, let me get that out of the plastic so you can see that a bit better. Okay, that's not perfect. There is a little bit of overlap, some here and there, but it's not bad. So there are no missed places, and it's fairly uniform. Remember, it's more important to be consistent rather than it is to be perfect with the edges of it. Although you don't want big bare spaces either with striping on a patient. We're going to change gears now and look at what happens on the eggplant. With that Zap-It paper, you can see the effect pretty immediately, so that's good practice. Well, now let's test and see how coordinated you are when you really can't see where it's going. So I'm going to do the same thing. It's important to use the gel on this regardless. And by the way, on the laser, I didn't use gel on the laser. It was a non-contact laser, but if you're using a laser like a light shear that's got a cold plate and you're putting it on these plastic pieces, you need to put gel down on that and use it at low energies. Here I'm going to use it at regular treatment energies, but with the gel on it. All right, I've set the IPL now up to even maybe higher energies than I ordinarily would use. It's up to 33 joules per centimeter squared. But I want to make sure that I can bruise this eggplant. You won't see it probably immediately, but when you come back in hours or a day later, all of a sudden you can see a pattern that's developed. When we train staff with this, we sometimes play a game. We have them write their name on the thing somewhere. They do their pattern, and then the next day we look and we see who has the best consistent pattern. So let's do that with this IPL and lay down a couple rows. The gel helps a bit. It leaves a footprint and you can kind of see where you've been when you use that. Let's go back, do the bottom row. You're trying not to double pulse, to overlap too much, and you're trying not to miss places, which would be striping and give you an uneven result. Okay, we'll wipe this gel off so you can take a quick look at it, but you're really not going to see much until this settles in. So I'll wait, and then on the video I'll come back and show you what this looks like. Okay, I've got all the goop cleaned off the eggplant, and I marked the edges with a knife just so we can see where we lazed. Right now you don't really see anything at all. It's hard to see that. So I'll come back in a few hours or tomorrow and we'll pick this video up. We'll show you what we're looking at for the delayed marks on the eggplant. Okay, I'm back. Here we are about 16 hours later to see how our eggplant matured. Let me stop and zoom in and you can get a close-up of this. All right, let's take a closer look at this and see what we did. Okay, not perfect, but not too bad either. You can measure your coordination after a period of time by doing eggplants and other things.